I haven't had a lot of direct conflicts in the workplace, but I can tell you about a disagreement that I had with a manager. A few years ago, I was working at UBC on a project to help students develop online portfolios of their work. And a year or so into the project, my manager and I came across a call for papers for a special issue of a journal, the International Journal of Work Integrated Learning, which was specifically focused on online portfolios for students. It sounded like something that would really fit for our work, and we decided to submit an abstract to this call for papers. So I went off and drafted an abstract about this interesting trend that I noticed in the student data and what I thought the implications of that trend might be. My idea was to do a really close, detailed niche interrogation of one small part of our larger project, and my draft was maybe 250 words. And I emailed the draft to my manager, and when she replied to me, she said, "Why don't we talk about that draft in our next one-on-one?" So during our next one-on-one, we sat down and my manager said, "Can you tell me a bit more about your thinking behind what you wrote?" And I told her about this cool little niche detailed thing that I was interested in the student data and what came out of that for me. And she said, "Okay, so do you know, is that the kind of thing that this journal usually publishes?" And it turns out that I hadn't done any of the research into the audience and context of this proposed manuscript. I just proposed exploring this weird little idea that I thought was interesting. And so we looked into it together, and sure enough, my idea was nothing like the kind of thing that this journal usually publishes. I was completely off the mark. And what I realized is that my manager completely disagreed with the direction that I'd taken with the abstract. She didn't think that we should do this small niche detailed interrogation of like one small detail. She thought we should do a much bigger picture case study report, which is exactly the kind of thing that this journal usually published. But instead of just saying no to my idea, she instead recognized that we had a difference of opinion, and she put her opinion to one side while she took the time to listen to me, just to make sure that there wasn't something that I knew that she didn't know that would make my opinion the better proposed direction for the work we wanted to do. So what happened in that moment of conflicting opinions, of disagreement, was that she suspended her opinion for long enough to really make sure that she heard me. She didn't start by saying no. She started from a place of curiosity, of wanting to know more. The result was nothing special. We actually didn't get accepted into that special issue of the journal. But what I learned from that experience, I learned so much about what I value in a manager and about the kind of manager that I want to be. Someone who asks good questions, who suspends their own opinions and beliefs when there's some kind of disagreement, who really listens to their employees and to their colleagues so that they can test out the foundations on which their ideas are resting. And to me, that was a real lesson in what I need from a manager and what I need from my colleagues, and informs the approach to conflicting opinions and disagreements that I strive to follow in my own work.